Hello and welcome to the Still Standing series. I'm your host, Coach Violet Coots, and I'm happy to have my special guest with me today, Alexia Rivera. I'm a Christian life coach, equipping and empowering individuals to live in their true identity and be who God created them to be, living in the freedom Christ died to give us. I'd love for you to grab my free biblical affirmation cards so you can start renewing your mind today and finding that freedom. And if you're feeling stuck in any area of your life, schedule a free breakthrough session with me. The link will be in the show descriptions. Hello, Alexia. How are you today?
I am good, and thank you for having me here.
Oh, I'm so honored for you to be with us. Why don't we start with you just telling the audience a little bit about you, and then we'll get into your testimony.
Hi. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Alexia Rivera, and I am originally from Caracas, Venezuela, but I live in Florida. So, I just love the Lord first and foremost, and that's why we connected.
Yes.
And my passion is to bring people to the Lord because before that I didn't have God in my life. I was lost. I was completely lost. And then when I received that relationship and that connection with Him, it changed my life. So now what I do is that I help women there are in business to really nourish and cultivate that relationship with God so that they don't lose themselves in business or whatever it is that they're doing, and they can maintain that foundation so fear and anxiety doesn't take over their lives, and just battling those forces so that they can be who they are, what they were meant to be, and
Yeah.
that they can be happy and thrive and radiate that light that God um, put in their lives.
Right. Yeah. And fear is a big factor. I mean, fear is one of the big things in my past as well. And it shows up in so many different ways. So many different ways. Well, again, I'm glad that you are here and that you're willing to take time out and share with us. And so I'm going to turn it over to you and let you just share your testimony, whatever God has put on your heart today.
Yes. So even now, I'm still reminded by God that He's the one in control. He's the one that has the power. He knows it all.
Yeah.
And even though right now, to be honest with you, I'm struggling a little bit with control. And
Yeah.
that now as a Christian, now as a believer, and I'm walking, I'm learning about having to release control
Yeah.
because back then I was still trying to control my life without him, and it was chaotic. It was probably the worst experience that anybody can have. So that wanting to control everything, everybody, even my whole life, created anxiety, depression, and fear. And all of those just took over my life, and it ruined a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It ruined my health, my mental health, physical health, relationships. And it got to the point where one day I got on my knees and I talked to God and I said, God, even without having a relationship with him, I said, please, I can't live like this. I need a change. And he heard me. He heard my cry and my he felt my desperation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
from then on, he took me little by little. At the moment that I surrendered and I said, I need help, that was the first step. I
Yeah.
had to take the first step to come to him because I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. There were so many things working against me that it was just too much to handle.
Yeah.
That's
Did you find, if I can ask a question, and it didn't mean to interrupt, but it's just in my mind,
annoying.
did you find that while you were trying to control your own life, before you had that relationship with God, were there other things that you turned to? I mean, did you, were you looking for help other
Yes,
ways and
that
everything?
that question is amazing because that was the cause of all the problems that I encountered throughout my life. So, in my desperation of wanting to feel better and seeking healing, I dabbed into witchcraft and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
And not only that, I found out later through Deliverance and working with, pastors and people in the ministry, that there are some things that come from family, from your family blood, that you may not be aware of. So
mhm,
it was a little bit of what I did, what my family did in the past, and it just continues to get worse. So yeah, open doors to
yeah,
certain things that people don't know about, but they cause problems.
right, yeah, yeah. So, so in that desperation, it's like, okay, I'm trying all of this. This isn't working. Things are probably getting worse.
I think honestly, I think I tried everything that you can think of because I'm a researcher. Like, but I don't want to say that that's my profession,
Right,
but it's just by nature. Anything that is in my life that is not working out, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to on Google and find an answer. So by doing that, I found all kinds of stuff that were not necessarily good. But I said, you know what, I haven't tried that. Let me try it and see if that works. So I was always hoping that the next thing, practice, pill, whatever was gonna work. So I
right,
I got into this cycle, this vicious cycle of, I think the devil was playing with me. I was so blinded
right.
that going from this thing to the next, like I got lost and confused because my life just was not getting better.
Yeah,
So imagine like
yeah.
how depleted I felt.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And thankfully, you cried out to God and stuff. So, but yeah. And go ahead. I didn't mean to get you off track there, but I was just,
Yeah.
it just popped in my head that I imagine you went to, and I think in our when we originally talked, you said that maybe you even got into witchcraft, if I'm correct.
Yes. And
So,
even something simple as yoga. That there's this debate whether like if it's good or not. But thanks to God's mercy and grace, He put me on my life. This minister that she knew all about deliverance, and I had to answer so many questions before working with her about my life, my family history, all everything that I have been involved in. And it was a whole list. It was like probably like 15 pages, like going to a doctor, like,
right,
and I'm like, everything, like the stuff that I watched, the movies that I've seen, places that I've been to, yeah, everything. So yoga was one of them, and I didn't know that crystals, also tarot cards, going to witch doctors, how they call them, right? I doing acupuncture, doing Reiki. Um, it's like on and on. Um, so I had to be very sincere with myself, and thanks to that, because you have to be, I mean, the God will, he has to expose the truth, the darkness, in
yeah,
order to bring light to it, right, and healing. And
right,
by me being so truthful to everything that I did, and that I think my family did as well, then that was the start. That was the beginning. I had to repent myself for everything that I did, and on behalf of my family, my parents, because my dad passed away, so I couldn't go to him. So it
right,
was a process of renouncing, asking for forgiveness. Um, and then, yeah, asking for forgiveness, renouncing and renewing my mind, because my mind, like, it's so funny because people will see me like a normal person, like, yeah, such a successful lady, but nobody knew the struggles that I was going through internally.
Right.
Only I was the one who couldn't sleep because of the nightmares, the anxiety, the fear, and those were spirits that came into my life that I didn't even know that were there, because I thought that was me that was
Right.
thinking like that. I was just living my life like normal. And when I understood, the cause and the consequences of my actions and everything, that was going on in my life, that's when I felt the grace of God, because he was not judging me for what I did. He
Right.
knew that I was not, I don't want to say that I was like a little girl that didn't know what was going on in my life. No, I was already an adult. But still, there were things that I didn't know that were going to create other problems. So
Right.
little by little, I noticed that my health got better and my mind was more clear. And I started to see a transformation when I was working with a minister and using the word of God and meditating on the word and fasting, praying, and getting on my knees. I had to be very strict, like the deliverance program. It was so strict, and it happened, I went through it during the pandemic, so I had all the time in the world to give my life and my situation to him. So during that time, he just cleansed me little by little, little by
Right.
little. And that's when I realized that his grace and his mercy are, you know are so amazing to anyone that is going through a hard time. Because I'm like, I could have been, destroyed,
Yeah.
right? And he didn't let me. He didn't let me, like other people, unfortunately, they commit suicide because of desperation of wanting to, if somebody that has felt depression ever in their lives is the worst feeling ever. Can you imagine like somebody saying, you know what, I'd rather just be dead than alive?
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that God, he helped me and he took me through the whole healing process without me feeling, ashamed or having regrets. It was such a loving experience
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
changed my life. And ever since then, like, my life revolves around Jesus, because he's the one who actually rescued me from the pit of hell. I will say it like that. He was the
Yeah.
only person, that the only entity that did it, because like I said, I tried so many things before, and there was not even one thing that I can say that worked. It didn't.
Right.
Everything got better when I came to God.
Mm, that's good. That's good. And you said that, it was a process though. You said your healing and things, it was a process. And I think renewing our mind, you know, we continue to renew your mind. I'm sure even now you're still renewing because I think it's going to be a lifetime process. He brings us out and to so much. And but there's always, I think, there's always, we can always go deeper with God. There's always more of Him and more freedom in that.
Yeah, no, that part that you said about renewing the mind, it was, for me, it was something that I had no idea that it needed to take place. Because when I got baptized, before I went through deliverance, I remember one of my friends, I told her about it, and she was so excited. And she's like, "You're gonna see that your life is gonna change. It's gonna be the best decision ever in your life." And that's how I went into baptism, like super confident that I was going to be transformed within 24 hours and my life was going to change in a way that, you know, that I was gonna be jumping up and down, with happiness, but it was the opposite.
Yeah.
It was the opposite because first and foremost, I felt like I didn't change at all. I didn't know that the spirit was the only thing that changed. And then the mind, the soul is a process, is a continuous process with you and with God and you and reading the Bible. I didn't know that because no one taught me. So
Right.
I was confused and I couldn't even get an answer from my pastor about what's going on because I also got sick right after. As soon as I got baptized the next day, I have all these rashes in my skin and I'm like, what's going on? Like what's happening? I was so, confused and I wanted to cry to the point that I said it out loud. I said, if this is Christianity, I don't know if I'll be able to handle it because I was physically ill and
Right.
I didn't know what was happening. Like I wanted to stop. Like I got some blisters like everywhere. Yeah, it was bad. And
Wow.
until I started to pray to God and I was asking God, heal me, stop this rashes from my skin because I can't even drive. I cannot do anything. I cannot use my hands, my feet. What's going on? So after prayer, like deliverance prayers and all that, it went away. So the
Wow.
deliverance minister that I met a couple of years later, she told me that, when people have a lot of, spirits, I'll say, in their souls, if you go through baptism or when you go through baptism, most of the time demons are not going to just leave happily. So they may do something against the believer now. They make things worse before leaving the body, and I think that's what happened. And it was just a fight, that I had to come to God even more and stronger, for His protection, His wisdom, and to understand more about the renewing of the mind because I was still holding the same thoughts and I didn't know why. I'm like, why am I still, when it comes to depression and anxiety and fear, I still feel it. So
Right.
that's when, 2 years later from getting baptized, I did my research and I said, I need more help because this is about the mind and I don't know what's going on. And I came across deliverance and I didn't know what was that about either. And
Yeah.
when I read it, I'm like, man, that's probably what I need. Deliverance. And then I luckily, because I'm in Orlando, yeah, in Central Florida, back in during the pandemic in 2020, I found a minister that she lived like an hour from me. And I called her right away and I said, are you available for an appointment? And she said, yes, I am open to have a conversation with you. And as soon as I saw her, she asked so many questions and she said, I think you are the right candidate for this program, just like that. And after that, just everything else just got better and better and better.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Now, how long? So, did y'all meet like on a regular basis, or was it all at one time? How did that happen?
It was um it was once a week for 3 months.
Okay.
So it was a long process.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a long process that at first I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, how it just seemed like forever that it was gonna take long. And at that moment it did, but then throughout the process, just time continues to move on and then, without realizing it, I was finished and I felt much better. And I remember she told me, she said, you'll see this is gonna be your best gift. That you're gonna be the best gift you're gonna be given to yourself in your whole life. And she was right. She
Yeah.
was right. I think like if I had the opportunity to avoid people from going through deliverance, if I can help them not to make the mistakes that I made,
Mm.
I would love that, because I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot, like mental, physical, and spiritual. It takes a toll on you. I mean, God actually, obviously, it strengthens you and makes you stronger for His glory. But if I can help people to avoid certain things.
Okay, so since you went after you went through the deliverance and everything, kind of give us, bring us up to date from there. What how's your life been, progressing since then?
Yeah, I I felt that, deliverance became the anchor to my life, because I still have to practice. I still have to do spiritual warfare prayers. I have to continue to be at war with my own soul. So, because things happen, they continue. I felt that for some reason, like it was gonna be beautiful and nothing was gonna happen ever again. But that's not how it is. We live in this world that is broken, and God, He's gonna help us. I mean, this is all for His glory. We're not meant to just be in paradise all the time while we're here. We're gonna go through trials, tribulations, but that's how it is. That's just how we have to live life, and it's all for to learn, to grow, closer
Yeah.
to God, to get higher in wisdom, but always with Him on the side. Always, we cannot do it by ourselves. Is People may think that it's possible, but it's so difficult. And
Yeah.
if they are doing it by themselves, if they believe that they're doing it in their own strength, they may be following other gods. I don't know, but I think and I believe that it has to be Jesus Christ. He's the truth. He's the light, and you know something. Other gods out there, other practices are not true. Are They're simply false. And I think that it's so important to have that close relationship with God, always, always,
Right.
always, to continue to be protected. And we need protection. We need to have a sound mind. We're not exempt from, as Christians, we're not exempt from attacks. We're
Right.
not exempt from so many things, but so that's why we continuously have to be on top of our spiritual, health, our physical, mental, and it's until the end. It doesn't stop. It's a
Right.
lifelong process that everybody has to go through.
Right. Right. Yeah. But from what you're saying, it's that, now that you're kind of on the other side of that really intense time frame, even though you're still realizing that, oh no, this I still live in this world, there's still battles to be. But doing it with God is much better than what it was before without him.
Yeah, because as I mentioned in the beginning, like right now, the power struggle, wanting to, by nature, I want perfection, right? And it was causing problems. And I'm like, okay, I have to like remind myself, like, I'm rooted in God. He's in
Mhm.
control. There's so many things that I do want to control because I did it for so many years. And it tends to be like second nature.
Mhm.
And it's not working for the best in my life. So I have
Right.
to come back to Him and say, oh, God, forgive me. I know this is not my job. I cannot control other people either.
Right.
um I want to. I feel that temptation,
Right.
but I have to repent about it, and allow Him to, like, I have to continue to, because sometimes, it's funny. that I talk about praying, right? And coming to God and getting closer to him because I've done it, right? And it has worked. But recently, my own struggles with family, I'm having this, I don't even know how to define it, but I'm having this heaviness wanting to pray for other people. I'm like, no, that's my job. I'm supposed to be doing that, even though within me, I feel that I don't want to. So that's putting like my heart in
Yeah.
check that I'm supposed to be doing the Lord's work by praying for other people, even though it doesn't feel like it feels a little hard. It feels a little like a challenge. So you see, like being able to reflect, because normally you will just go on with your life. Like, no, I don't want to pray for this person, whatever with them. But being able to reflect of what you're going through, your own conflicts, I think that's the work of the Holy Spirit that is giving you
Yeah.
light. That what you're doing is not necessarily right, to
Right.
kind of shift your perspective and even put your heart, remembering the grace that he gave me and the mercy, and extend that to other people. So that's what brings me back, to him, to the cross, to
Yeah.
keep my eyes on him in the
Yeah.
midst of whatever it is that I'm going through.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's the most important part, like having that anchor
Yeah.
that I have now to navigate life. That's just beautiful, and that doesn't have a price. It has the greatest value that personally I can see in my life.
Right.
Nothing else. Nothing
Yeah.
else. So,
Yes. Yeah.
and I truly, my hope and my prayer is for people to have an experience with God,
Yeah.
because some people just don't believe, or they don't get into the next level because they don't know, they think that they haven't, that God doesn't exist, God is not for them. And once you have that experience that changes your life, you can see God differently. He's gonna become your priority.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I pray for people to have that life changing experience, either through their own lives or by hearing somebody else's testimony,
Yeah.
to have that relationship with them.
Yes, and that's why, that's part of the reason for this series, that, the still standing, because I think one tactic of the enemy is that he wants us to feel isolated, and that no one else is going through what we go through, no one else is thinking, what we're thinking, no one else is having the same, these struggles, and it makes us, it's all alone. But we all have struggles. We all have struggles, and like you said, it's God who, and that common denominator is, it's God that's getting us through them. It's God that's taking us through and drawing us closer to Him. And even in our struggles, though, I think that's, so that we can see Him more and get closer to Him and see Him in ways maybe we haven't seen Him before. See who He is for us in that moment. And, He's got all these different names in the Bible. He's our provider, he's our healer, our savior, our redeemer, and he's all of these things. And that's out there.
I also want to mention something real quick that I didn't said
Yeah.
before, is that when it came to anxiety and fear, the way that my mind was thinking is that I was alone. Like, now that you mentioned isolation, I
Yeah.
felt that I had to carry the weight of the world or my own life on me by myself. And I was so fearful, like having to go out, having to do things, just being myself, because I always thought that the world itself was against me. And that's such a bad way of thinking and living life. And I know there's a lot of people out there that they probably feel the same way. And not until I realized that there's a God who's in control, that is more powerful than me, than everything else that is happening, that's when I was like, oh my God, I can relax now. And
Yeah.
even if, he allows something to happen, he is is himself, like allowing it for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, it just happened by mistake and no one knows what happened. No. So by me getting that insight and that truth was like, oh my, that was like one of the biggest changes on my mindset, because now I was able to, okay, now I can relax. Now I can live life knowing that I had protection over me, that I
Yeah.
was just not, abandoned in
Right.
life.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So important. So important. And all. So you said now you help women to work with their fear and anxiety and overcome that. So that's I'm sure that's very rewarding and fulfilling. Um, do you feel like, and this may not be, I know some people will have like, they're like, oh, this is this verse. I have a lifeline verse. It's kind of like, this is a verse that is talking about an anchor, and some not, because some it's like, oh, the Bible's there's too many of them and things. But is there any verse that you kind of like, this is my verse, that's my lifeline verse or my life verse?
To be honest, I don't have one in specific because
Yeah.
there's so many, and that's something that I have to do. I have to memorize more and be more mindful about that, because sometimes it's embarrassing that you're actually in this field and people sometimes quote scriptures like from left to right, and me, I have to go to the Bible or even Google, like, this scripture that talks about, like, I cannot remember a few words here and there, but I don't remember the whole thing. So
Right. Yeah.
depending on the circumstance, I will go to that verse in the Bible. So I don't have one in specific, but I know that there's one that it says, maybe not lean on your own understanding and know that I am God.
Yeah.
That's a part of, like, oh, I have to remember that even though I do want to know it all. Even the stuff that I know may not even be true, but God knows everything. And, sometimes I just gotta like pull from, like
Yeah.
I said, I don't remember word by word, but whatever the situation that I'm
Mhm.
going through at that moment, I'm like, what's the Bible verse for this? And I
Yes.
remember a word and it comes. So I
Right.
go by that type of dynamic.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And and you're growing. I mean, you're it's only been a few years too, so that, and but knowing that, hey, there's a verse out there, and
Yeah,
and to
there's a
and
verse
I
for everything.
yes,
Yes.
there's a verse out there, and God gives us, and if lots of times things will show up for me. It's like, oh, he'll show me a verse, or I'll give that verse, and then the next thing I know, I see it somewhere else, or I hear somebody talking about it, and it's like, oh yes, that's just confirming and everything. So no, 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 no worries there, no shame there, because we're all growing. And I can't quote it, like some do. I still have to. It's like I'm like you. It's like I know some words to it, and I can look it up. So, and we're all growing, but so so knowing like what you know now, where you're coming from and everything, what you've been through, what, encouragement or advice do you want to leave with the listeners? What do you want to, what do you want them to take away, from our conversation today?
Yes. What I would love for people to know is that they're not alone. They will never be alone. That's a promise that God Himself made.
Yeah.
Whether you feel close to Him or not, He's always there.
Yeah.
So, knowing that the support and the help is always available, it's up to us to open our hearts, our minds to Him. He never changes. He hasn't gone anywhere. We're the ones who go astray but God, He's always there. And unfortunately, for the stuff that people go through, sometimes, I guess people get blind,
Yeah.
and we're not able to see clearly. We're not able to hear Him clearly, but that doesn't mean that He's not listening to us, that He's not speaking. He's a good communicator. He speaks all the time. But
Yeah.
we need to know that we're not alone, that he's always there for us, and we have to be conscious and do make our own effort, put our own effort to have a relationship with him, because that's ultimately what he wants, a relationship.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how you're gonna be able to get insights and wisdom about your own life, what he wants you to do to improve, to change, for your family. So that's the only way to get closer to him and continue to cultivate that relationship, because he truly loves us. Like, he doesn't want anybody to perish. He doesn't want people to just be wandering, lost, like not knowing where they're going. I mean, he wants you, he wants me, he wants everybody to like really have that connection with him, that relationship, so that we can fulfill our mission here on earth. We
Yeah.
cannot we have a mission, and he's the only person, he's the only entity that gives us a purpose. Even for myself, like, I didn't know what I was here for in on earth. And it took forever, not forever, I don't want to say forever, it took a long time for
Right.
me to truly understand and be at peace with that, because all the stuff that I went through, my own purpose was limited, it was not clear, it was confusing. I'm like, I don't even know who I am. But
Yeah.
God is the one that can make it clear. Like, he can clarify your purpose, your
Yeah.
mission in life, and he will help you. God will give you everything that you need. And that's my message. Like, I really want people to have that experience with
Yeah.
him, and their lives are going to change. They're going to change, and he's going to help you through every step of the way. That's the best help that anybody, I mean, think about it, the help is coming from the creator of this world. I
Yeah.
mean, how better can it get?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's wonderful. And I was just sitting here thinking, as you're saying that, when you said that, hey, when you first started and you had all that going on, it's like, I don't even know if I want to keep on. But he helped you to keep on and not even to give up so that you could get to that to where you are now. And so as you said, he's always with us. He's always with us, and he hears our hearts cry. He hears our hearts cry, and our voice when we will cry out to him. So, well, I so appreciate you being here with us today. Is there anything else? Because I don't want us to stop if there's something else that you wanted to share, or that you feel like you need to share or want to share, um, before I finish us out.
No, I just want to thank you for taking, the time to interview me. I appreciate it. And I think any time that we get to talk about God and to glorify him through testimonies, it helps to bring somebody back to him,
Yeah.
or to bring hope, you
Yeah.
know, to this chaotic and lost world. I mean, we need to talk more about him and the experiences, like how he has manifested in our lives. I mean, that's our job. So I thank you for doing the Lord's work, and I just hope that many people are inspired and they're blessed by this message.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, and I want to thank everyone who is listening to this. And just what a testimony. So I always want to leave you, um, I always want to leave you with Isaiah 43:2, which says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flame scorch you. So that's his promise to us. We will go through things, but we will not go through them alone. So if this episode has been encouraging to you, please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Leave a comment and even share this with a friend. And again, if you are feeling stuck or confused in your walk with God, schedule a free call with me because He doesn't want you stuck and confused. So thank you, and we hope to see you again next week.